This video is going to be the story on how I manifested my specific person who is a higher love. Those painstaking, difficult relationships that seem impossible to manifest, that's what I'm going to be talking about today, because this is my story on how I did that. The idea will come to you and you will know that thing is going to happen.
That's easy.
There's two different kinds of relationships that you can manifest. You can manifest the ones that are easier, that require less of you, but you get less out of it. And how do you know if you're manifesting that kind of relationship? Because ultimately it's easier to get, but the reward is less satisfying, and you will find yourself less satisfied with that interaction, and you'll start to feel like, I just can't manifest what I want from this person. When that happens long enough, you will see that you probably don't actually love them. You probably have an impure motivation for manifesting them. And I did this for my entire life. I decided a long time ago that I was going to just manifest comfortable relationships because I didn't believe in having the relationship that I wanted, because I thought that I'm too unique and what I want is too big, and I didn't see anyone out there that was really a match for me, and I didn't want to be alone forever. I wanted to live my life, and so I just decided that I was just going to manifest what I wanted, and I did. And if you watch my videos on my channel and you go back, I've been talking about manifesting a specific person for a long time, and those things work. But this video is going to be the story on how I manifested my specific person who is a higher love than I had ever had before. A love that requires all of me. And so in that process of manifesting a love that requires all of you, you have all of the love that you need in order to vibrationally work with, to create the circumstantial relationship that you want. But it requires more of you to get there. And so these teachings are much deeper. They are based around a soul level love, something that you want with no impure motivation, for no reason besides that you feel connected to this desire from the depths of your soul, and it feels extremely authentic to you. And something deep inside, when you're completely honest with yourself and when you transcend the ego, it just keeps pulling you back. And so some of you out there are having an extremely tough time manifesting your specific person, and it's very painful. Or you want that love relationship that you've never had before, and it's very painful. And so those painstaking, difficult relationships that seem impossible to manifest, that's what I'm going to be talking about today, because this is my story on how I did that. Now, this is going to be a long video, so you should probably take notes, get settled in, and watch all the way until the end, because at the end of the video I'm actually going to put part 1 here. For those of you who have not been keeping up with my story and you don't know what is going on, this might come as a complete shock to you, but I'm going to lay it all out here. And I do have lots of notes here because I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything important. But this is going to be the video that you want to watch all the way through if what you are after is a deep, deep love connection, a higher love relationship, something that is greater than you've ever had before. And especially if you want to transcend circumstances with a difficult case or a stubborn man or something that seems impossible or whatever, I got you. Okay, so just watch all the way until the end. I'm going to tell you my story on how I did it. There's always lots of questions on, more precise, like exactly how did you do that thing, or how did you do that thing? I'm going to be running through so many things. I have been covering and teaching all that I have been doing in great and specific detail in my Manifesting University. I'm going to give you a lot of information here that is going to be highly valuable to you on your journey, that you will be able to use and understand, it's going to put a lot in perspective for you. But if you want greater detail on exactly, some of these things I'm going to mention here, I've been completely documenting all of it in my Manifesting University. I teach a class every single week, and I do a retreat every single month online, and I get into very, very specific detail there. So that link is in the description below if you ever decide that that is the right thing for you to do, okay? I'm gonna try not to repeat anything that I already mentioned in the first video, but there may be some overlap. So basically, I'm going to back up to before we met, because before we met, I hadn't met him yet, right? So how do you manifest a person if you've never met them yet? I get that question all the time. There's this thing that people do when they're setting out to manifest something, and they create a list, okay? But here's what you need to know about creating the list is your list of things has to be vibrational. Those are the only things that are actually going to be a representative of your true desire, and those are the things that when you actually capture that and harness that and focus on that and understand that, oh yeah, that's what I want in a vibrational sense, that's when it's gonna happen. And that's what happened to me. Here's the thing, is that I knew that when I was setting out and changing my entire life to set out to manifest this higher love, I knew that I didn't know what that was. I just had a mental idea of what this consisted of. But you can't just manifest mentally, because if you manifest purely mentally, the outcome is not going to make you feel the way that you want to feel. It's not going to be completely satisfying to you because you haven't harnessed the feeling that you want to feel. What happened was, in the beginning, I knew that I was after a higher love, and I knew some of the characteristics of that. I knew that it was something that required all of me. I knew that it was completely mutual. I knew that it felt very secure, and I knew that every part of me and every part of them wanted to be in this relationship, and I knew that it had no impure motivations. And I had ideas about, a meeting of minds, a meeting of hearts, being on the same page and seeing eye to eye. I knew these things, but I didn't know it vibrationally in a feeling sense. So what I did initially is I had my list of let's say the typical things that people would write down, essentially the outward circumstances that you want in an equal partner. So you write those things down, you have an idea of that. I even had an inspiration. If you guys have been following me for any length of time, you know that Dwayne Johnson is someone that I have used as my inspiration to manifest, because it's just about, harnessing an energy and using something that inspires you to do that. I even just, would think about him, and it would give me the feeling that I wanted to feel. I was working on this for a few months, just putting things in my basket, the vibrational things that I knew that I wanted, and putting them in, because I knew I didn't have the full, I hadn't harnessed the complete energy of that love yet, because I never had it before. For a few months, I was happy, and I knew what I was doing, and I was putting things in my basket. I would see attributes and feel things, and I would be yes, I want that. Yes, I know I want that aspect. And I even met a beautiful person, and just instant, this person was beautiful inside and out. And I'm not the kind of person that goes googly-eyed over anyone because of their looks, period. I don't care about that. But he was beautiful inside and out. And I know the difference also, this is important for you guys too, I know the difference between having a love energy and not needing to attach it to a person. So I had this amazing love, appreciation, pure energy for this person, but I knew that it didn't mean that I needed to have them, right? And so I asked myself, I was what do you like so much about this person? What are you feeling? And it ended up being that what I was feeling from this person is they had a really pure heart. This person would never hurt you. This person just had a really pure feeling in their energy, in their being, in their essence. And I was like, oh, I'm putting that in my basket. It was like the last thing to go. It was like that felt so complete. I had gone a little while putting things in my basket, and I was kind of like, I was very, very happy. I was very aligned. I was working on enlightenment. I was working on honesty. I was working on expansion. I was feeling good. I was aligned. I was happy, but I hadn't met that person yet. And so, I was a little bit like, what's that about? So what ended up happening is I was in a very, very aligned, happy, like enlightened place. Enlightened just means that you see things for what they are. You're not seeing things through the eyes of ego, right? I reached a day in my life where I did what I call point and click. And point and click only happens, this is something that I teach in my 7-step program. It's my most popular program. It teaches alignment in 7 steps, but even more than that. And so one of the steps is point and click. This is something that will happen to you automatically when you are really aligned. You will be able to decide, I want this thing. You will, the idea will come to you, and you will know that thing is going to happen, and that is it. You will just know. It's point and click, and then it happens. And so on this particular day, I was having a point and click day, and I was going somewhere where there was going to be people there, and I knew that I was going to have a good time. And I knew that I was going to meet someone, and that person was going to be attracted to me, and the attraction was going to be much more than skin deep. And what I was also manifesting, and I did make a meditation on this as I was manifesting it, because I always teach what I am learning in the moment, and I always do the meditations like for you guys that are from the depths of my soul, that is something that I'm connecting to, that I am purifying and manifesting and creating more of in my life, because it works. I was creating that this person that I would meet would recognize me when they saw me, that they would know me when they saw me. And that is exactly what happened. When this person saw me, they knew that I was their person. A lot of that story I put in the part 1 of this story. That's going to be at the end of the video. But basically, fast forward, and there was a connection, which it was like a soul connection. It's like we just knew, and there was no outward reason for us in particular to know. Like, the circumstances didn't exactly make sense, and the circumstances didn't exactly make it easy. This person did not look the way that I was anticipating that this person was going to look. Not at all. And I'm going to tell you later in the video, I'm going to talk about true desires and understanding how when things actually unfold that you desire, it doesn't always look exactly the way that you thought, but if you are aware and you're transcending ego and you're being honest and you're doing all the things that I'm going to tell you to do, you will recognize that, oh, this is actually the representation of exactly what I truly desired. So that is what happened. I had a lot of resistance in this love and in this relationship in the beginning, and there was a lot of fears. There was a lot of fears for both of us, but there was especially, I had resistance, which is hard for us to admit because we're like, no, I'm the one who's ready and they're not. That's never the case, guys. They're a manifestation of you. They reflect you. So I recognize at this point that I did have a lot of resistance to this person because the person did not look the way that I envisioned that this was going to look. And I don't even mean like physical appearances, like I just mean like the whole circumstance of the thing. Now, there were a lot of things that are non-negotiables, that were things that I truly desire and know that I need to have, that this person had. So for instance, physical appearance was there, it's the body, he has the body type that I like, that I'm attracted to, tattoos, he has a very masculine bone structure, and I was attracted to him. So we had this attraction. I had specifically asked for specific types of intelligence in this person, because there's 9 types of intelligence, and I know what mine are, and I know what I want and I'm looking for in another person as far as that goes. I was asking for a person who had my top 3 intelligences, but also in addition to that, something that I don't have, which is spatial intelligence, which is like, you know, your engineers, your techie people, your people that are able to be handy and build things and fix things and stuff like that. And he's so smart on that. And so it was like, check, you know, acts of service, check. We met minds in a lot of ways. There was like this definite chemistry, which is very rare for me. And he had that aspect that I had seen in that other person. He had that heart that I was looking for, because that type of heart is like what I know that I have. And so I wanted my match in that way, and it was there. We met minds in a lot of important ways. So basically the things that really needed to be there for the true desire of love to like be there and flourish, for this to be a true desire, those things were there for me. That connection made a huge difference. That soul level commonalities that I sensed and felt and had in this connection made all the difference. Obviously, you know, if you have this soul connection, and you guys are probably all going through this, you have this like soul connection, you have this draw, you have this like feeling, and you just kind of know like you're drawn in this direction, but like the circumstances don't match, like it doesn't look like the thing, you know? And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I navigated that and what I learned from that. Things I learned about what I really wanted, despite whether I knew it before or not, or was clearly identifying those things or not. And then this person, in a lot of ways, was the answer to my prayers, like a lot of, you know, true desires that I had. Like, for instance, you know, I really wanted to be as unconditionally loving as I could be as a person. I had been working towards that for a long time. But in order to achieve that, you have to have love. Because I was engaging and sticking with these like relationships that only required half of me, I could not really reach unconditional love in the full way that I desired to. Another desire that I had was to really be as authentic a version of myself as I could be. You just can't be completely authentic when you're sticking with a relationship that is representative of half of your depth, you know? And so I really wanted to crystallize in my authenticity, and for all of these different facets and aspects of me to flawlessly and seamlessly come together. I'm gonna read this part for you guys. This particular relationship, higher love relationship, soul love relationship, soulmate relationship, twin flame relationship, I don't like labels, but it's that type of experience, this otherworldly, mystical experience, this incredible amount of things that you learn, the way that you grow as a person, reaching heights of love that you never knew existed before, reaching dimensions that you never knew existed before, transcending things that seemed impossible. It really does mimic a lot of the lore around, you know, the soulmate and the twin flame and all of that stuff. I have had a lot of experiences in this relationship and through this relationship that I had sort of been resisting in the past, you know, because of, you know, everyone is you pushed out, and that doesn't quite, it makes it a little bit difficult to understand the collaborative experience when you're co-creating with something outside of you, when you're solely like everyone is you pushed out, and I'm going to explain the co-creative experience within everyone is you pushed out here, because it's like they're you pushed out, but then you also have to interpret like what you're interpreting from them or what you're projecting onto them. Like you have to deal with that too. It is you know. So I'm gonna explain that because there's something really cool about that coming up. But it was a very interesting learning experience, and the mystical experiences that have been following that and that I'm having still, it's like it's just freaking wild and magical. I'm just gonna read this to you. To find a higher love, a soulmate love, a twin flame love, whatever it is that you want to call it, it requires you to find and embody the source of love within you in order to manifest them and be met with that love. So you see how if you're in a half relationship, a relationship that represents the half of you, or a relationship that you're in for impure motivations, which means like you're in there also for circumstantial reasons, right? So it's like you're halfway in there for them, you like them enough, but then the circumstances also have to be there in order for you to love them, because you don't fully love them no matter what. But this higher love, soulmate, twin flame love, whatever you want to call it, it requires you to, like, the connection is based on you finding and harnessing love within that they inspire in you. And there's nothing else holding it together. There's circumstances do not hold this together. So what people end up doing that sabotages the connections and the relationships and changing the other person, this completely sabotages your progress when it comes to manifesting, is people will create these circumstantial necessities. They'll be like, well, if you don't act this way and do this way and be this way, then this ain't a thing. And that's the thing, is that when you start doing that, you're no longer the creator. You're saying you have to be XYZ circumstance, whatever, instead of allowing yourself to change within in order to change without. When you allow yourself to be inspired and to want and to manifest a higher love connection, you will find a way to harness that energy of love within. And that energy of love within transcends all the circumstances. And I cannot explain to you how that happens. I mean, I can't tell you the processes and how, but I'm saying, like, it happens in a more magical way than you can fathom. And the bridge of events you cannot fathom, and the way that you quantum leap you cannot fathom, and how is it going to happen you cannot fathom. It is, you manifest a different world entirely, and that different world has different rules entirely. In order to experience this love, when, let's say that you're inspired to this love, like he inspired me to this love, in order to actually experience the fullness of that, it requires you to transcend all of the blocks to it, all of the blocks within you that are between you and the fullness of experiencing this love. And so inherently, it is a learning experience. It cannot not be a learning experience. And so, I released recently my Floodgates of Love retreat, which is like a new staple. I'm calling it like the 7 Steps 5.0, because it's just like super advanced and super in-depth and super detailed. That's on sale right now, by the way. Like I put it on sale for like a month because I was like, I want everybody to see this, because this is the stuff that worked. I talked about the transcending of the blocks because that was something that that was the point. The point was, these are the things that you need to change in order to experience the love and the life and the relationship and the embodiment of the authenticity that you desire. So like me manifesting this relationship with a person, it's not just about that person. It was about my entire life experience that I want, being the person that I want to be. It's so much bigger than the two of us. And that's what they say about twin flames, is like, and I'm not saying anybody is or isn't a twin flame. I don't like the labels. I just want people to, be able to cognize here. Because I don't believe a lot of the things that they say about twin flames. That's for sure. But the experience is real. And the fact that the problems come up, the fears come up, the doubts come up, the circumstances are there, literally, to show you this is what you need to address. This is what you need to change. And so I have spent a lot of time in deep thought, reconfiguring myself, my thoughts, my beliefs, my perspectives, my feelings, And it's important to understand that, what do you need to do to transcend the blocks? Well, that's where I went into great detail in the Floodgates of Love retreat. I'll put that link below if you guys are interested, because it's still on sale. Even if it's not, this is going to be like an evergreen course for me. It's all in there. I know that there's a million ways and ideas and practices and techniques that people do to transcend blocks. I'm just telling you in that retreat, exactly what I did. But I mean, as you believe, so shall it be done unto you. If you believe that you have a magic pen and you tap yourself on the head with it and you're cured, that could work, because as you believe, so shall it be done unto you. So hey, if you can wish upon a rock and it works, great, do that. Backing up just a second, when it comes to transcending blocks, you gotta go a step back for a second, okay? Because to transcend blocks requires that you transcend ego. And what does that mean? It means that it requires humility. It requires complete and total honesty. A connection with complete and total truth. And I'm talking about... So this is the point in which my camera decided to completely shut off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that playlist right here with the rest of my story episodes. You can watch the previous episode or you can watch the subsequent episode. Subscribe and hit that bell to make sure that you get notified every time that I'm coming out with a new video. And also there is a link to the Manifesting University for you guys. If you join right now before we reset for the new year, you're going to get 3 months of bonus content immediately upon access. And I know you want to get that Floodgates of Love retreat on sale, so that link is going to be in the description below.
That's easy.